Hi, my name's Simon. What we're going to go through today is how to use a compact wheelchair recliner and bariatric bench. So as you can see, this is a compact wheelchair recliner. There's no trip wires around the platform, it's a self-contained unit. So first of all, we're going to move the platform into a working position. Now to do that, there's a silver button here, it says rise. So we press the rise button. As you can see, the air compressor kicks in, the front will lift up, and then the back will lift up. It roughly takes about 8 to 10 seconds to pump up. As you can see, the back's lifting up now, and now it's ready to move. Now from a moving and handling point of view, we don't really want to be bent over, pushing it like that, putting strain on our backs. We have a straight back, hands onto here, and move in position. Once it's in position, then we can lower the platform to the ground. There's a grey valve here at the back. It says lower. We turn the valve to the ceiling. It sinks down. And we turn the valve back facing the wall. If we leave it to the ceiling and press the rise, the air will just keep going round and round and round, which you don't want to do that. So we turn it to the wall, allowing the machine to pump up. That's the wall. So now we're going to fold the front ramp down. As you can see, we've got nice little wings here to stop any pinching from the platform. So we lower it onto the ground like so. And then we pull the back stabilisers out. Now with the stabilisers, people tend to think, because they're stabilisers, tend to over tighten it into the ground, putting pressure on the front ramp. We don't really want to do that. We're going to pull the stabiliser out, screw it to the floor, and just a little nip on the end of it. So I'll pull the other back stabiliser out, little nip, and that is all we need. Now we'll turn the machine on. As you can see here, the beeping noise, that's basically the machine switching on and checking all the safety switches around the platform. Now at the back here, we have a selector switch. It says off, remote control, and unit. When it's in the unit, there's a tilt and return switch here. It tilts back and obviously forwards. And when it's in the remote control, obviously remote control setting, which is backwards and forwards. The reason why we have this setting is, let's say for instance, this gets damaged, dropped, someone takes it home, you've always got a setting you can actually use the platform in case this does get damaged. But failing that, we do provide a second handset on here. So if you do lose this one, you've got a backup smaller handset. If you lose this one, you've got the mains unit as well. So it's always got a scenario that you can actually use the platform. So we're just going to talk about now the safety features on the platform. When you recline the chair back, we've got 2 sensors at the back and we've got 2 sensors at the front as well. So first of all, the sensor at the rear. If I was to put my foot where it shouldn't be, the machine would beep at me, telling me I have got my foot in, or foot or hand. But if I'm powering back at the same time and put the foot there, it'll pick the fault up and it'll back away from the fault. Same at the front. If I was to put my foot where it shouldn't be, it'll beep at me, go forward, it will back away. And also we've got some switches underneath the platform. Here's you put your foot where it shouldn't be either. It'll beep, same thing as the side switches, it beeps and backs away. And last but not least, we've got the front safety mat. Especially because it's on a handset, if you are walking around talking to the patient and it comes down to your foot, it'll hit the foot and it'll back away as well. Okay, as it's a battery run unit, if you leave the machine switched on, it will go flat. It's like leaving your car headlights on your car. If you leave your car headlights, it will go flat. So with this scenario, if you leave it on switched on and you go home, come in the following day, and you find that the machine's not working properly or gone flat, then we do provide a battery backup box for it. So the battery backup box is basically just the same 2 batteries in the box is the same 2 batteries in the back of the platform. So all we do, we pop it next to the unit, and we plug the battery backup box into the charging point, we twist, clicks in place. Now you could use this for 50 cycles back and forwards. So it will get you out of, so you can treat the patients, and then after you finish treating the patients, then you can pop it on charge overnight. But let's say, for instance, you leave it switched on, you come in the following morning, machine's got enough charge in it, you think, I'll do a little checkup, you get the patient into the platform, recline the patient back, and all of a sudden, it stops working. So then, get a battery backup box. You go to get a battery backup box, that's gone missing. Someone's locked in a storeroom. It hasn't been charged up for 6 months. So now you've got a scenario where you've got a patient stuck in the platform, you've got no battery backup box. What are you going to do? Now we do provide an emergency key. Now the emergency key plugs into the emergency key switch around here. Now this emergency key runs off a 12 volts circuit. So there's always enough voltage in the batteries to get the patient down. I put the key in, I turn the key, and here's a lot quieter. Now all them nice fancy buzzers and the alarming noises, this key overrides them. So when you do put the key in, make sure there's no feet trapped, turn the machine, get the patient down, and then we can put the machine back on charge again. But not only that, let's say for instance someone damaged a sensor, a wheelchair knocks a sensor, a patient kicks something, or anything could happen. It's always handy to have the key as a backup to override all the controls. So we keep the key safe, we keep it on a smaller handset, and can store it in a safe place. So before we bring the patient on, what we were looking at is the adjustments on the back of the platform. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I always say 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom and work up. If we did it from the top and work downwards, we would put a lot of pressure on the patient's head. So, first adjustment is the back support. So we can actually wind the back support forward, and then we can wind it backwards as well. And then we've got the height adjustment for the back support. Push it to, there's a little clamp at the back, we push it to the left. The height adjustment, like so. The third adjustment is the head support. So we've got forward, backwards, and up and down as well. And then we've got the neck support, which is in here, up and down. Like I said before, we work from 1, 2, 3, and 4. So before we bring the patient on, we're looking at what type of wheelchair is it. Is it electric wheelchair? Is it bariatric wheelchair? Is it a standard wheelchair? Has it got its own leg supports and head supports? So first of all, the particular wheelchair we're going to see in a second has its own leg supports. But we do provide leg straps to strap around the wheelchair to stop the legs from swinging down as well. So this goes around the bottom of the leg supports, like so. And then we're looking at, has the wheelchair you're treating, has it got its own head support? If it has got its own head support, what we can do, we can actually unscrew this and we can actually fold this out of the way. So we can actually use the patient's head support and then recline the patient back. But what I would suggest is, let's use our head support to support their head support. Even though their head support may be big and bulky and we don't really know how strong it is when you recline it back. You don't really want any shearing off or damage. So I would suggest having this head support, just touching their head support like so. Give it a bit of a double protection. So before we bring the patient on, we basically want to wind out the back support. So we wind it out, so making good access for the patient to come onto. Right, so we're going to get the wheelchair on. Now I've got the patient in. Now I'm putting the brakes on, not stopping the patient falling out. Because when you tilt them forward, you don't want them shooting off the platform. So the brakes are on. Now the wheels are actually touching the back of the platform. We don't really want the wheels off the platform. Now, let's say, for instance, the wheelchair you're using, treating, has a battery pack at the back. They stick out at the back and actually hits the back of the platform before the wheels do. We do provide some foam blocks. Now the foam blocks will act as the back of the platform. So they will slide in between the wheel and the base to allow that extra space at the back for any clearance for any wheels or any battery pack sticking out the back. So once the patient's in, we can do the adjustments to 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the first one, I'm going to wind it onto the patient's back. Now do the height adjustment. Now this particular wheelchair hasn't got a lot of support on it. Now a lot of wheelchair patients you will treat, they will come in their own moulded wheelchairs, with cushions and extra padding. This wheelchair doesn't have that, it's quite flimsy. So this back support is going to be the support and the comfort. Now if you are treating patients with the moulded wheelchairs, as long as you get the back pad centralised, it's obviously support the patient. So we've done the 1, 2, and we did a 3 on the head support, and then we can do the neck support as well, which is 4. So now we're ready to recline the patient. Now a good thing about having the handset with no wires attached to it, you can actually walk around and actually talk to the patient. So, you okay, John?
Very comfortable, thank you, Simon.
Right, so I'm going to recline the patient back. So on here. Now, instead of standing at the front of the platform and seeing him recline back, try and stand next to the platform. Because if it's the patient's first time in a platform, they may be a little bit nervous, and I think you're standing next to them, takes the illusion off being reclined back. So I'll stand next to the patient, and as we recline them back, just walk back with them into a good working position. And as you can see, the platform will go quite far back, so the weight transfers from the front of the wheelchair to the back of the wheelchair. Now, 2 options, you either stand up or sit down. Last thing you want to do is be doing this, putting pressure on your back. You want to stand in front. So it will go quite far back. It goes back to 60 degrees for medical emergency, and it will take a compression test if need to be. Now I'm going to recline the patient back to the home position. Now if you have the patient down longer than 15 minutes, try and bring them in 3 stages. So it's 1, 2, 3. Obviously the blood flow to the head. Okay, thank you very much, John.
Thank you. See you in 6 months.
So now what we're going to go through is the bariatric bench. Now the bariatric bench has been designed to take the walk-in bariatric. So not all bariatrics are in wheelchairs. Now a bariatric patient is classed anyone above 23.5 stone, which can't go into a stand-up dental chair. The bariatric bench is designed to take patients up to 68 stone in weight. Now, what I'm doing, the same as the wheelchair recliner, we're making it accessible to bring the bench on. So I'm winding the back pad out, accessible for the bench to come on, and then we can bring the bench on. Now with the bariatric bench, I'm pushing it up to the lip of the platform. I'm putting my leg against the bench and tilting it and nudging it over. The last thing we want to do is stand at the front and lift it up like that, putting pressure on our back. From moving and handling, we tilt it, keeping our back straight, over the lip, palm your hands onto the bench, locked in position there, leg on the floor, and we tilt it towards us. Now, even though we've got adjustments to 1, 2, 3, 4, we still need to do this, but we're going to basically have the back pad about a finger gap. We don't really want the bench tight against it. We actually want this pad to actually move with the patient, and also keep it level here. Now the head adjustment is the same as the wheelchair. Onto there, onto there. Okay, so now we're ready to take the patient. So the patient is already set up. All we have to do is adjust the head support. We haven't got to do the back support, it's already pre-done. So now we can adjust the head support. Into the crook of the neck. And now we can recline the patient. As you can see, there's good working space at the back here. There's some bariatric chairs out there, they've got quite big, bulky at the back. Here we can get close to the patient. I'm not leaning doing like so, you can actually get close to the patient. So recline further back, all depending on how you want to work. You want to work sitting down or do you work standing up? If you work standing up, you can actually raise the patient up and you can still get close to the patient. Or you can recline the patient back and you can sit down. Now, a lot of the questions I get asked is, why do we keep the leg supports down? It's basically, the centre point of gravity on the platform's here. We don't really want the leg supports coming up, transferring the weight onto the patient. So we try and keep the weight central. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to remove the bariatric bench from the platform. Now, when I put the bench on, it's a one person's job. To remove the bench, it's a two person's job. So to remove it, what we would do, put your hand on here, and we basically pull the bench out, so it's locked in position. Hand on here, we tilt and pull out, moving the bench. It's almost like a push and pull motion to do it. So what we've done now, we've actually took the bariatric bench out, but now we're ready to store the unit back into the stove position. So I'm going to put the bariatric bench back in so we can actually show you how it stores inside each other. You haven't got to have the bariatric bench away from the platform, creating more storage. So now we'll put the bariatric bench back in. I'll show you one more time how to do this. Up to the platform, leg against it, tilt onto my leg, nudge it over. Palm my hands, leg on the floor, slight tilt, away we go. Now we're going to fold the front ramp up, turn the machine off. Now if I didn't turn the machine off, what would happen was the machine would beep at you. So the machine's left on, you pull the front ramp up, now you hear the machine beeping. So that's telling you left the machine switched on. So we turn the machine off, the noises just fade out. So now we're ready to put the back stabilisers back in, we unwind them, and then we can actually move the bariatric bench and they'll come back together. So I press the raise button, the front will lift up and the back will lift up. Take a little bit longer this time, because last time it was 8 to 10 seconds, probably about 10 to 15 seconds this time. The front lifts up automatically, and then the back will lift up slightly, a bit more weight at the back. There we go. And again, the moving and handling point of view, same principle at the back. We don't want to be pushing it from the bench, because if you push from the bench, the ramp could fall down. So we have the hand at the back. And then we just release the air valve back to the ground. Now it's back to the ground, what we're going to do is put the machine on charge. Now, the batteries are designed to charge up to a certain point and cut off. You can leave it on charge 24/7. So the battery won't overcharge, won't undercharge. So when we put the charger on, it basically clicks into the charging point, like so. And it clicks in. To release it, we pull back, twist, and come out. Now with the charging, it's done a traffic light system. It's red, amber, green. So when you plug it in, it'll go to red straight away, then it'll go to amber, and after half hour, it'll go to green. There is a battery meter on the side of the platform as well, so it will actually tell you if the battery's been charged up. On the side here, it's got the battery voltage. That way you can see during the day, if you are using it quite a lot, you can actually see how far the batteries are charged up or not. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy using the equipment. If you get any questions, give us an email or give us a call. We're always here to help.